Have you ever wondered what might be out there in the vastness of space, just beyond our reach, waiting to reveal itself? What if I told you that right now, as you're watching this video, something extraordinary is happening that could change everything we know about our place in the cosmos? At this very moment, an object from deep space is passing closer to the Sun than any of us ever expected. This object, known as 3 Atlas, is at its closest point to the Sun, a phase astronomers call perihelion. It's a critical moment, and what's happening right now is unlike anything scientists have ever seen before. This is not your typical comet. 3 Atlas is defying every model of celestial mechanics that we've come to rely on. Its tail is shifting in ways that shouldn't be possible. It's glowing with strange colors, and it's moving through space at a speed that doesn't make sense. Some scientists believe it's just another natural wanderer from another star, but a growing number of others, including some of the boldest astrophysicists from Harvard, believe this could be something entirely different, something built. What's more, new data from the James Webb Telescope, Hubble, and several ground observatories are pointing to one frightening possibility. This could be the most important discovery in human history, or the first warning. 3 Atlas was first spotted in July 2025 by the Atlas survey in Chile. Right away, astronomers noticed something strange about its orbit. Unlike the orbits of comets or asteroids, which loop around the Sun, this object was following a hyperbolic orbit, which means it wasn't just passing through our solar system, it was on a one-way journey. This made it the third confirmed interstellar object observed, following Oumuamua in 2017 and Boros in 2019. But even among these other objects, 3 Atlas stands out. Its speed over 210,000 kilometers per hour made it the fastest object of its kind ever recorded. And its path was surprisingly close to the Sun, only 1.36 astronomical units away, making it a perfect candidate for scientists to observe every detail. But what they found in the early observations stunned the scientific community. The light signature of this object didn't match any known comet or asteroid. It was far too reflective, too stable under solar radiation, and far too structured. Whatever 3 Atlas is, it's unlike anything we've ever encountered. As the object approached the Sun, telescopes around the world began picking up strange anomalies. The Hubble Space Telescope observed something that had never been seen before, a bright, strange anti-tail extending toward the Sun, not away from it. Then, just weeks later, the anti-tail reversed, becoming a typical tail, pointing outward as expected. This shift was so abrupt and so symmetrical that many speculated it might be some form of controlled propulsion. Meanwhile, the James Webb Space Telescope revealed something even more bizarre. The coma surrounding 3 Atlas was composed mostly of carbon dioxide, something not seen in any other comet in our solar system. What's even stranger is that it appeared to be glowing, radiating heat, as if something inside was actively generating it. The surrounding cloud of CO2, stretched over 350,000 kilometers larger than the diameter of Jupiter, inside this cloud, scientists found traces of hydrogen cyanide and an unusually high ratio of nickel compared to iron. While this might be possible in nature, one scientist quietly remarked that those ratios looked industrial. When 3 Atlas reached perihelion, many astronomers predicted that it would break apart under the intense solar radiation, just like many comets before it. But it did something no one expected. It survived. No fragments were detected. In fact, it emerged stronger than ever. Even when a powerful coronal mass ejection from the Sun struck its path directly a blast that should have destroyed any fragile body, it barely flinched. 3 Atlas absorbed the impact and continued on its way, almost as if it were designed to withstand such forces. Its shape, elongated with a 10:1 aspect ratio, was remarkably similar to that of Oumuamua, but unlike Oumuamua, which spun erratically, 3 Atlas remained stable, reflecting light with a strange negative polarization, a property no known natural object exhibits. Scientists began calling it the unbreakable visitor, and that's when things really took a turn. Some theorists, including Harvard's Avi Loeb, categorized 3E Atlas as a potential artificial object, placing it in category 4 of his extraterrestrial scale, which ranks interstellar objects based on their likelihood of being technological in origin. Loeb suggested there's a 40% chance that 3E Atlas is not a natural object at all, but something built. Now, as the object continues its journey, it's performing a maneuver that could change everything. If 3E Atlas accelerates beyond what solar gravity predicts, it would mean only one thing: it's under control. Right now, as scientists and astronomers across the globe monitor 3E Atlas, they're witnessing a phenomenon called the Oberth effect. This maneuver, typically used by spacecraft to gain speed near a gravitational source like the Sun, is a technique that allows for dramatic increases in velocity. If 3E Atlas is performing this maneuver, it would be gaining an impossible amount of kinetic energy enough to either slingshot itself out of the solar system or, even more concerning, to change its trajectory and head directly toward Earth. Astronomers have been closely watching for any signs of deviation in its trajectory, but as of now, there has been no confirmed change. However, the data is still rolling in, and there's growing concern about what may come next. Meanwhile, NASA has quietly activated its planetary defense network, which includes over 227 observatories across the world. The official explanation is that this is simply a training exercise, but the timing raises questions. Could this be a precautionary measure? And then, just as the world tried to grasp what 3E Atlas might be, rumors began to surface that something extraordinary was happening. Radio telescopes picked up a faint yet consistent signal coming from 3E Atlas. It was weak, but it was there synchronized with the object's orbit. Was it calling home? Was it some form of interference? Or was it something much more mysterious? Could this be a signal from an intelligence far older than our civilization? Days after 3E Atlas passed its closest point to the Sun, something unexplainable happened. It slowed down. Not in a way that physics could easily explain. It wasn't the drag from solar winds or gravitational deceleration. No, this was a controlled deceleration, as though the object itself was applying brakes. Data from NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory and the European Space Agency showed a measurable reduction in velocity, a precise 0.08 meters per second squared, which continued over a 20-hour period. Natural objects don't do that. They don't resist the sun's gravity with controlled precision. This wasn't just a comet or an asteroid. It was something entirely different. This deceleration occurred precisely when 3E Atlas crossed a boundary known as the thermal equilibrium zone, where an object's internal heat balances with the solar energy it absorbs. The implications of this were chilling. Was something inside 3E Atlas regulating its temperature, adjusting its course, or even preparing for something more? Then, just as questions about the object's strange behavior began to grow, a breakthrough happened. A research array in Japan, the Mitsuhara Deep Space Radio Observatory, picked up a narrowband signal coming from the direction of 3E Atlas. The signal wasn't random. It was structured a series of 3 pulses, each followed by a pause, repeating every 247 seconds. Scientists initially dismissed it as noise or satellite interference, but when the same pattern was detected independently in Chile, Italy, and South Africa, it became impossible to ignore. The signal was real, and what made it even more unsettling was its stability. It didn't fluctuate with solar wind or cosmic background interference. It remained constant, almost as though it was locked to an internal clock. When analyzed, the signal showed phase coherence, something that could indicate intentional encoding, not random emission. This wasn't just a natural phenomenon, it was a message. But who or what was sending it? The speculation intensified when NASA's internal leak revealed that the signal contained faint harmonics in the hydrogen band, one of the universal frequencies theorized to be used in interstellar communication. Was 3 Atlas sending us a message? And if so, who was the sender? The scientific community split into two camps. One half argued that 3 Atlas was the first physical evidence of an interstellar probe, perhaps a remnant or a piece of technology from an ancient, long-extinct civilization. The other half insisted it was all a coincidence, that nature could create patterns that appeared intelligently designed if observed long enough. But the more data came in, the harder it became to dismiss the possibility that 3 Atlas was something far more advanced than any of us had imagined. As the data from the James Webb Space Telescope continued to arrive, it revealed another layer of the mystery. Webb detected an unnatural polarization pattern coming from 3 Atlas's surface, something no known comet or asteroid had ever displayed. The light it reflected was being modulated in alternating planes, as though rotating layers of material were adjusting the reflection intentionally. The readings even showed variations in the light, matching the rhythm of the previously detected radio pulses. Meanwhile, telescopes in Chile noticed that the tail of 3 Atlas had split into 2 distinct streams. This wasn't a random occurrence. The streams didn't run parallel, they crossed at a precise 90-degree angle. That geometry doesn't happen in nature. It was as if the object had split its emission, using its own vaporized gases to send optical signals across space. As theorists began to examine this, they started wondering, what if these weren't just random emissions? What if 3 Atlas wasn't trying to communicate with us at all? What if it was trying to communicate with something or someone else? The implications of that were too vast to fully comprehend. Then, on August 29th, everything changed. As 3 Atlas moved beyond Earth's orbital plane, its trajectory shifted slightly by 0.11 degrees, a small but deliberate motion. This was not an accidental change. For 27 hours, the object's path formed a direct line through Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, right through the outer planets. Every telescope trained on the object recorded a strange luminescence emanating from its core, fluctuating at regular intervals. Astronomers noticed that the intervals coincided precisely with planetary orbital resonances. It was as if 3 Atlas were calibrating itself to the harmonic frequencies of our solar system. The alignment wasn't random, it was choreographed. And as if to confirm this, the object emitted a burst of ultraviolet light, a flash, strong enough to ionize the solar wind around it. The flash wasn't diffused. It was directional, aimed straight toward deep interstellar space. When scientists traced the flash's vector, they found it pointed directly to a region between Vega and Lyra, the same location where the mysterious "wow" signal was detected in 1977. Then, just as suddenly as it had appeared, 3 Atlas went dark. The flash stopped, the radio pulses ceased, and the object became completely undetectable. It vanished from the view of every telescope and radar dish. NASA declared it optically lost, beyond detection range. But the data that remained from the James Webb Space Telescope told a different story. The final moments of 3 Atlas were recorded as it vanished into the void. In the milliseconds before the ultraviolet burst faded, a fragment of light remained in the data. When the data was reconstructed, it revealed an interference pattern, a modulation within the light itself, almost like an optical fingerprint, intentionally imprinted onto the universe. What was even more shocking was the structure of that pattern. It wasn't just random noise. It contained repeating frequency ratios, the same ones seen in hydrogen transitions, planetary resonances, and even the human frequency, the electromagnetic heartbeat of Earth's atmosphere. This wasn't a natural phenomenon, this was a message. The scientists at the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics ran the data through waveform analysis, and what they found was staggering. The signal wasn't just a simple flash of light, it was a form of geometry. a universal constant, a blueprint that could only be understood by recreating its frequencies. It was as if 3 Atlas had left behind not a message for us to read, but a code for us to experience. When this waveform was run through quantum resonance simulators, something extraordinary happened. The repeating harmonic grew stronger with each cycle, as though the waveform was interacting with the very fabric of space-time itself. But then, just as suddenly, the simulation shut down. Before it did, however, it displayed one final phrase, "We remember you." This message spread across the scientific community like wildfire. It was quickly wiped from public databases, and NASA denied any connection to it. But the whispers were growing louder. Was this truly a message from an intelligent source? Was 3 Atlas trying to tell us something? Or worse, was it trying to wake us up? For months after the final pulse, the scientific community remained divided. Some argued that 3 Atlas was an ancient message from a long-forgotten civilization, while others clung to the belief that it was simply a freak of nature. But in the silence that followed, a few brave scientists began digging deeper. A small group, the same researchers who had decoded the original signal from 3 Atlas, noticed something even more unsettling. A faint harmonic resonance had begun to appear this time, not from the direction of Vega or Lyra, but from deep within our own solar system. It was the same harmonic pattern, the same frequency, as if something close by had heard the signal and answered. Could it be interference from the sun, or was it something else? A cosmic echo, bouncing through the heliosphere, perhaps? Theories abound, but the mystery remains. Some researchers, however, believe this is just the beginning. They believe that 3 Atlas was not simply a messenger from an ancient civilization. It may have been a wake-up call, a reminder that intelligence might not exist solely outside our universe, but could be woven into the very fabric of existence itself. The true question may not be what is out there, but what is within us. And that brings us to where we stand today. As astronomers and scientists continue to monitor 3 Atlas's trajectory, the question still looms large. What is it? And more importantly, what does it want? It may have passed through our solar system, but it left behind a trail, a message encoded in the very structure of the universe itself. Perhaps 3 Atlas didn't come here to observe us. Maybe it came to wake us up, to remind us that intelligence is not something we should seek beyond the stars, but something we must learn to recognize within the universe we inhabit. So, what does this mean for us? Is 3 Atlas simply a fleeting curiosity, or is it a harbinger of something far more profound? Is the universe truly trying to communicate with us? These are questions that may take decades, even centuries, to answer. But for now, the data is still coming in. And as it does, we must remain open to the possibilities. Because when the universe answers back, we'll want to be here, ready to understand the message. If you found this story fascinating and want to stay on top of the latest discoveries, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. The truth is out there, and you won't want to miss it when we uncover the answers that could change everything we know about our place in the cosmos. Subscribe now and be part of the journey.